Hopefully you're now able to move pretty smoothly through the Hubud patterns we taught you in the last video. Next, we're going to bring you to the point of how to use single-handed weapons in this drill, that it might help you enhance your martial arts a little more, and do it safely and efficiently. Stay tuned, we'll talk about it. Welcome to Shihan's Dojo. I'm Shihan Marty Husband, and I'm here today to help you build your knowledge or your skills in the martial arts. Or if you're wanting to take the martial arts, maybe teach you a little more bit about it. So if you want to grow your skills and your knowledge, jab that subscribe button and punch that bell so we can notify you when we have a new video coming out. The question for today is, what single-handed weapons do you like to use, and what are the drills you like to use doing them? Leave us a comment down there. Let us know so we can start a conversation on different types of drills that we might be able to use with single-handed weapons. If you haven't already seen the previous video, or you don't know anything about Hubud, I suggest you go right up here and check out the video that we had before this so you can better understand what we're trying to accomplish here. There are several other patterns and tactics we did not cover that are in empty-handed Hubud, but we'll cover another day. But for now, we want to take what we've learned and apply it to a single-handed weapon. And several people out there are probably wondering why you didn't discuss movement or your feet patterns in Hubud. I personally think that too many people spend a whole lot of emphasis on a bunch of different things at one time. Just like we're trying to square up face to face here, in reality we would be in a phasic position or a 45-degree angle. Again, this is just to teach you how to use the weapons in the pattern. We'll cover this again in another video. I know I say that a lot, but there is so much to this. There's going to be many sections of this video over the next year. So I believe a person should work on one pattern at a time. That way they can get focus on what is needed. Once they get that pattern down, then they can build upon that foundation and add to it as they need or see fit. We will cover the basic phasic position and the 45-degree stance that should go with it when you're doing this in a later video, but I wanted you to understand why we were squaring off and the reasons behind doing it this way. Now, getting to Hubud. When doing Hubud, there are three basic progressions that we reviewed in the last video, and I'll mention them real quick here. We've got receiving, we've got redirecting, and we've got returning. The second section we're going to cover today is basically how to use a single-handed weapon within this pattern for training. And using a single-handed weapon, one has to be aware of the properties that are used with that weapon. Is it a bludgeoning? Is it sharp? Does it have the reach, its length? You have to be aware of the weapon's ability in order to better train with it. But just remember one thing, that a weapon is only an extension of your hand and not a new thing altogether, except for the damage it might cause. Therefore, it's better for you to actually learn what your weapon is capable of when you're practicing to understand how its uses might be done later. Now, I'll cover a stick here real quick, and I'll have people say, oh, you're choking up too high. But no, I am not choking up too high. I'm actually using this at a much more advanced level, whereby I'm actually ice picking with the bottom half of the stick. But we're not going to cover ice picking for a long time, because it has a little more to do with knives and that there. And it's pretty much an advanced technique if you're going to try to use it. Also, I'll say, if you've not done any training, please get a qualified instructor. Watch your safety. Make sure you have the right gear, the right equipment, everything you need to train properly. Even though this looks like fun, it can be seriously dangerous, and you don't want to have anything happen to you. And right now I'm teaching this as an education. You are not learning this from me, you're merely taking the knowledge. And if you already have some knowledge or an experienced instructor, train it, do it. Now, as I said, we're going to put an emphasis on this video with the stick. It won't be that long with what we're doing, but I wanted you to see how to add the pattern. I also want you to work over this pattern for the next couple weeks. Get your sensitivity built up with sticks. You don't have to have sticks this long, but you know, it's nice so you can get a more demonstrative feel on how these actions are. Now, as you can see with this here, I'm basically just doing the same hand exercise, only using the stick to come up high and cross over. As you'll see in a few minutes with the partner, there's a lot more to it, but it just gives you a start of the basic pattern. Also showing in here the low Hubud you can actually practice much later in advance, but it's good to just sit there and practice the pattern empty-handed. If you don't have a partner that's experienced with it, stick with the high Hubuds for now. As you can see here, I am doing these movements without a partner right now, just simply to show you the directions of the hands. When you start working with a partner, you use the exact same hand patterns that you used when you were trying to do empty hand. The only main difference is that there's an an important parry you must try to accomplish. It's not always possible at first, but eventually you'll get to it. The important thing to note is that we come around with our parry, we actually try to click the stick from behind. By tapping these two sticks, you actually help with later advanced stuff in order to control the weapon as a person might change the attack up. It also helps in making sure the stick doesn't come back around or slide down, as we mentioned in the empty-handed video. Just remember, you need to continually practice and work on that sensitivity so you can feel and see the techniques coming in without much thought. It's not important how fast you go at first, but what you're learning. I think many people try to do this too fast by either adding power and speed. I don't think they truly understand the sensitivity needed to control your opponent and his weapon. When you do this type of an action with speed and power without understanding sensitivity, you lose the whole purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. And don't worry if you make mistakes. Keep going. I make mistakes even today practicing because I'll try to think of something new. Or sometimes I just have a new partner who doesn't quite know how to do Hubud completely. Once you get that down, do some experimentations. Check on what you could do in that angles and that there. Work slow with your partner. Discuss it. See if it's realistic. And as you do get better with it, don't forget you can slowly speed up. Don't start fast. Go slow to fast and then slow down. Kind of create a rhythm and speed up the rhythm, take it back down. That way you can better understand redirection and how to find openings and see them more easily. Now I'm going to show you a simple little picture here how you can use dual sticks. Although we're not going to use a partner, I just want you to understand even using two sticks you can use the same basic patterns as you're doing there. Later on it'll come into play if you ever want to get into Kali and Escrima, and maybe we'll do something on it later. But I want you to see how easy it is to translate each of these into the possibility of using the sticks for the Hubud instead of your hands. Make sure if you start doing partner drills with two sticks that both of you have a decent grasp and understanding as well as safety when trying this type of a training exercise. And if there's any question in your mind or possibly getting hurt, buy padded sticks or pad up some PVC pipe, tape it up real good and train that way. Later on, if you're practicing with plastic knives, get yourself a set of eye goggles in case you don't accidentally poke each other in the eye with it. Plastic and sticks and whatever can still be dangerous. So make sure you're using some type of safety equipment if you're going to train and you're new to it, especially when you're starting to experiment with your techniques. And when you experiment with your techniques, make sure your partner you're working with knows what you're trying to accomplish and safely work together. I again cannot stress how important it is to be safe, and you have to make sure you are safe. You're responsible for your own actions, so if you get a little too disrespectful, you can actually hurt each other by goofing off or doing things. Take this serious at all times. Do not play. The next video will probably be a little longer on knives when we get to it, because it's going to be not only this pattern, but some explanations on how to use it with the knife. We'll not do ice picking. That's coming much later. But for now, we will use a slash to discuss how we're going to do it. And as I stated earlier, we'll practice some other things on movement and actions and training with your empty hands, knives, or sticks, just to make sure you're up on your single-handed weapons and movement. I also would stress if you know somebody with the Filipino arts, you should get with them and train with them. Experience is a great thing when you can find somebody to do it, because otherwise the hard knocks come by you having to learn it by yourself. And that's the whole point of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to share experience so you can learn from us. A good experienced person can help you speed up your training faster than you can do it by yourself. Now I hope you got something from this video. If you like this video, share it with your friends or on Facebook and let them know what we're trying to do here at Shihan's Dojo. Comment on the question we had today. What are your favorite single-handed weapons and how do you train with them? Leave them in the comments so we can have an active discussion here about different techniques we might use to train single-handed weapons. If you have any questions or things or ideas you'd like to see, let us know down there. And we hope to see you again here real soon on Shihan's Dojo.